message.
Thank you very much. Very good morning. You can hear me well? All good? Thank you.
Good morning,
Very much
Rubiel.
welcome. Yeah, very much welcome to all the mayors who join us for the Module 2 as part of the Asia Pacific Mayors Academy. I have seen several mayors here with us, so my warm greetings to all the mayors who are with us today. And some of you are not here. Some of the mayors are not here, but I also like to greet especially to Mayor Kendari. I think Mayor Siska should be with us today because Kendari successfully organized our event, Executive Bureau meeting and seminar on sustainable tourism just last week. It was really a big gathering and I congratulated her and the team for the success of the Executive Bureau meeting. Again, allow me to begin with a question. How can we future-proof our cities? As mayor, you play a very important role in providing good enabling environment and making the right decision for your cities and communities in preparing and addressing the future shocks and stresses. So resilient cities are essential to a sustainable future. I think most of the mayors address the importance of resiliency here. So under this module 2, there is a title. The title is Navigating Multi-Crisis Contexts, Key Approaches for Addressing Multiple Crises. And when we look at the crisis, I think we, not only in terms of geopolitical tensions that we are facing here, including this energy crisis that several countries are facing because of the war and several other crises. But what we are addressing here is that what is famous as a triple planetary crisis. We are facing pressing challenges and through this module, navigating a multi-crisis context, we would like to emphasize the importance of integrated solutions that address the sustainable development. And we take the importance of triple planetary crisis. I think mayors, you must be also addressing one of those crises in your cities and territories. These three planetary crises addresses three important crises. One is biodiversity losses. Second is pollution, whatever pollution you have, water pollution, air pollution, and several other pollutions. And the other crisis on climate change. So we hope that you will be able to learn from the perspective of experts and local government representatives who are here with us. So I really like also to thanks and welcome all the speakers from different entities, from different organizations. We have from India, Rafi, good morning, and also from UNEP, from C40, and also Quezon City, and of course several local government representatives, including Malang Regency. So let's learn. But the important is not just to learn, but how can you absorb those knowledge and lessons learned that it will be shared later on from practitioners, and how can you also apply in your cities and territories. So through the different frameworks and initiatives included in the modules, we aim to inspire each one of you to transform your commitments into actions, your local actions. So every step, whether it's big, whether it's small, but if these steps are consistent, whatever methods you have, I'm sure you all are going in the right direction of creating future cities that are resilient, future cities that are sustainable, and create, of course, happiness of the people. So let us have a productive session, and I look forward to your active participation. And before I close this opening remarks, I also like to thank all the partners of Asia Pacific Mayors Academy, UN Habitat, UN ESCAP, and several other partners, I just for supporting us in this journey, especially in the module 2. And we welcome, of course, feedbacks from all the mayors, whether this module that you are going to listen and also to discuss today really makes sense, and how we can also improve this module for the future uses. So thank you once again, and I'm here actually at the ASEAN Secretariat. We are having a meeting on the NDT, and we'll be happy to hear from you later. But I will not be able to stay until end, but my colleagues Liz will support you in this journey of Module 2. Thank you. Selamat, terima kasih, namaste, namaskar. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bernadia. Before we proceed with the next sessions of our module, may I invite everyone to please turn on their videos for a quick group photo. And may I also request our colleagues to let us know once the photo taking is done. And Songhan, will you be giving us the signal? So let's give everyone some time to turn on their videos for a quick photo shoot. Quick photo.
Can you count, Liz, so that we're all ready with a big smile?
Yes. All right. Songhan, are we ready to take the photo?
Yes, we are ready.
All right. Can we do a countdown, or should I count now? 1, 2, and 3. I guess that's for the first round. Do we need the second round?
Why not?
All right. Another one. 1, 2, and 3. All right. So we got the signal. Our photos are all good. Thank you, everyone. So before diving in to our modules, let's have a short icebreaker. Allow me to share my screen for a bit. All right. So to join our short quiz, we request our mayors to scan the QR code that you see on the screen, or you can go to menti.com and input the 8-digit code. That's 14808183. Or you can visit directly from the link on the chat. So our first question is, the Asia Pacific region is facing multiple crises. Which among these strongly affect your city or municipality? So let's see, the results are coming in, and it looks like climate change is really a major crisis that most of our cities and municipalities are facing today. We have one who responded, others. If you're willing to share, what is this other crisis that you are facing aside from the three that we have in our options? Please feel free to share in the chat or turn on your audio and video and comment. If not, then we will proceed with the next slide. Oh, okay. There's also one on pollution, but it's still a majority for climate change. Our next question is, how are our cities and municipalities facing this crisis? So in this, you have many options. Do you have a local climate, air quality, or biodiversity action plan? Do you have the budget? Are you working with the national government? Or are you working with different stakeholders? So you can drag the option here, whether you agree that you have them, then put it at 5 at max. All right, let's wait a bit as those results come in. But we're seeing that the majority of you work with different stakeholders. That's very good to see. And of course, working with national government and having the financing are at tie right now, followed closely by having an appropriate either a climate, an air quality, or a biodiversity action plan. So let's give that a few more seconds, maybe. All right. The results still seem to be the same generally. So it's good that most of our cities and municipalities see that they're working closely with different stakeholders in facing this crisis. So that local governments are not alone, and it's good also that we're able to build ownership with when we're working with the stakeholders. Our next and last question is, in which area does your city or municipality need the most support? Is that in terms of technical capacity, financing, a clear mandate, stakeholder engagement, or others? All right. Looks like we have an obvious winner. It's our cities and municipalities need financing to address this crisis. I think we can conclude in a few. Do we have more responses? But it's still financing that's most needed. And I think that's it. Thank you for joining our short icebreaker for that. So we have a better understanding of what our cities and municipalities are facing and what's needed, at least very briefly. And without further ado, let's continue with the discussions, beginning with the first session on the triple cities and municipalities and the triple planetary crisis. Can we share the slides, please? Thank you. All right. For most of us, this may just be a refresher. This is just meant as an overview. So some of you may very well know all of or at least some of what we will be showing here. So the triple planetary crisis refers to the three main interlinked issues that humanity currently faces: climate change, pollution, and biodiversity loss. Climate change is the most pressing issue, as we saw in the Menti earlier. So climate change refers to the long-term shifts in temperature and weather patterns that in the long run will completely alter the ecosystems that support life on the planet. Next slide, please. So the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report in 2021 determined that human influence has warmed the climate at an unprecedented rate in at least the last 2,000 years. The observed warming is driven by emissions from human activities, with greenhouse gas warming partly masked by aerosol cooling. Next slide, please. Right. So human-induced climate change is already affecting many weather and climate extremes in every region across the globe. Evidence of observed changes in extremes such as heat waves, heavy precipitation, droughts, and tropical cyclones, and in particular their attribution to human influence, has strengthened. Next, please. All right. Next one is air pollution. So, household combustion devices, motor vehicles, industrial facilities, and forest fires are common sources of air pollution. Pollutants of major public health concern include particulate matter, carbon monoxide, ozone, nitrogen dioxide, and sulfur dioxide. Outdoor and indoor air pollution cause respiratory and other diseases and are important sources of morbidity and mortality. Next slide. Air pollution is the largest cause of disease and premature death in the world, with more than 7 million people dying prematurely each year due to pollution. Furthermore, 9 out of 10 people worldwide breathe air that contains levels of pollutants that exceed WHO guidelines. Next slide. So the WHO air quality guidelines serve as a global target for national, regional, and city governments to work towards improving their citizens' health by reducing air pollution. It includes recommended levels and interim targets for common air pollutants, including particulate matter, ozone, nitrogen dioxide, and sulfur dioxide, as you see in the screen. Next slide, please. And lastly, in the triple planetary crisis is biodiversity loss, which refers to the decline or disappearance of biological diversity, which includes animals, plants, and ecosystems. The reasons for biodiversity loss include everything from overfishing to habitat loss to desertification due to climate change. Biodiversity is the baseline for everything on the planet, as in the end, we are all interlinked. Biodiversity loss also impacts food supplies and access to clean water. Without it, we have no future on our planet. Next slide. Next. Yes, all right. So cities and climate action. So cities are responsible for generating a large share of global emissions, with 70 to 80% of emissions coming from urban areas, but at the same time are victims of climate change. Urgent action is needed to promote low carbon and sustainable urbanization. It is, let's see. All right, next slide, please. So, in a rapidly urbanizing world, the conversion of natural habitats into urban areas leads to a significant loss of biodiversity in cities. However, these direct effects of urban growth seem to be much smaller than the indirect effects outside of cities, such as the urban release of greenhouse gases, causing climate change globally, or the increasing demand for food and resources in cities, leading to land use change in rural areas. Direct effects occur when urban areas expand, converting natural habitat into cities. Indirect effects include the biodiversity impacts of resources consumed within the city, as well as the impacts of pollution released from cities. Next slide, please. And lastly, we have cities and air pollution. Cities often have poor air quality due to a combination of factors, primarily stemming from human activities and geographical features. Vehicles, particularly those fueled by diesel, are a significant source of air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions, with transportation accounting for about half of emission in cities. The need for clean air has driven recent action at national and city level, with a focus on transportation and sustainability, including clean air zones, electrification, and active travel. Next slide. So, how can synergies advance action? Synergies refer to the dynamic interaction across issues, stakeholders, and planning processes that arise from deliberate efforts to pursue integrated responses, generating cooperative results greater than the sum of individual actions. Next slide. So currently, the Asia Pacific Synergy Report is being prepared, and it focuses on the synergies between the triple planetary crisis and the Sustainable Development Goals. So this report will be launched at the ninth session of the Committee on Environment and Development of ESCAP this July. So this initiative, the Asia Pacific Synergy Report, is led by ESCAP, ADB, UNEP, with UCLG ASPAC as the lead author of the Cities and Resilience chapter. Next slide, please. So allow me to briefly show some of the cases included in the Synergy report. So first is we have the biomass energy generation in Maniwa City, a forest-rich rural municipality in Okayama, faced challenges from large amounts of underuse and abandoned forestry residues, causing waste, ecosystem degradation, and vulnerability to natural disasters such as wildfires. Through public-private partnership, city and local companies invested to establish the Maniwa Biomass Power Corporation to convert forest residues into renewable energy. In addition to generating renewable energy, the initiative reduced CO2 emissions, reused wood waste, created green jobs, increased local income, and balanced climate mitigation with biodiversity conservation. Next, please. Pune is one of India's fastest growing cities, generating around 2,000 tons of municipal solid waste daily amid rapid urbanization. Pune adopted a circular waste management approach that emphasizes source segregation, decentralized processing, material recovery facilities, and formal integration of informal waste pickers. The approach reduced pollution and landfill dependence while supporting livelihoods of informal waste workers. Later on, we'll also be having a live case from some of our local governments in Indonesia who have an integrated resource recovery center. Next slide, please. Lastly, we have, as a popular tourist island, Jeju Island faces a surge in plastic waste. Jeju adopted a cross-sectoral strategy centered on waste prevention, smart recycling infrastructure, and carbon-neutral industries. So to date, the efforts generated revenue from sale of recycled materials and planted 1.37 million trees, which will absorb carbon dioxide. So these are just some of the examples showing how each project, each initiative is able to respond to multiple crises or concerns in the city. So reflecting the focus that we should not just address one issue at a time, but see how they are interlinked together and how we can solve each of those together as well. Next slide, please. And without further ado, we'd like to know more about the solutions. Let me give the floor to Dr. Paneth Cho, Nature-Based Solution Specialist and Associate Professor from the Royal University of Phnom Penh. Dr. Cho, the floor is yours.
Very much, Liz. Please let me share my own screen.
Yes, please go ahead.
I hope you can see my screen now.
Yes, now it's on full screen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Liz and Dr. Ban. Thanks for having me. So time is running. So greeting from Brisbane. I am now based in Brisbane, Australia. Uh, Let me just highlight what we have done so far, because what have been raised by Liz is about the urban crisis that everyone may aware that is already happens in our city. If you go to the IPC report, we can see it's unquestionable that the death rate of the urban, if we do the projection by 2050, the death rate will be up to 250,000 per year. That is so large that will be happens. And if we put the number, the urban flood will increase by 15%. So this is something very severe that really impact to the economic activity and also the urban infrastructure. And for the city that have nearby the coastline, we can project it around 1 billion people will be impacted by the coastline disruption and also the ecological destruction by 2050 as well. So this is the number that we predict, and then we can see this is something that will be real. So this is something that I just put together again into the picture as the visual that Liz also mentioned. We first about the air pollution. We have the riverbank erosion, pluvial flooding, heat stress, fragmentation of natural habitats, river flooding, pollution. Everything is just happening right now. I think all the mayors at the Pacific and others region will aware, because this kind of the common crisis that we are facing. So my presentation today, I just come up with highlight some kind of the solutions and what actually the local government can be done based on our experience and our projects right now, EU, ASEAN, that we have done in across 4 countries in ASEAN member states. So this is something that I will highlight what actually we have done in the member state. So I think nature-based solution is quite an emerging definition. Everyone always heard about this. But this kind of, I would like to remind, this is a kind of the way that we try to learn from the nature, try to learn from the ecological function, why the nature make this global survive for this a million years, and why recently, just around just last several decades, when we have the rapid development, we face so much crisis. That is the big question. So that's why we need to document. We try to learn from the nature and design the solution that align with the nature, not against with nature. So our projects, we try to distinguish the city into 2 different parts, so we can really provide a proper solution. One is the inland landscape, another one is the coastline landscape. So this is something that I will provide 2 different crises that are completely different aspect from the urban. So this is the challenge of the urban at the coastal area. I think this is the picture that we just have the last couple of weeks on our fieldwork back in Cambodia. So when we conduct the fieldwork around the coastline for all provinces in Cambodia, with the Ministry of Land that time, and Ministry of Tourism and Ministry of Environment. We try to find out what actually the challenge. So we can see the coastal erosion and the loss of beach coastline right now become very obvious. So this is something that we come up with the question why. Because right now the eroding of the sands and the coast, all the vegetation along the coastal have been destroyed by the storm surge and also by the erosion. That's become very severe. And also the flooding, because of the stormwater crisis right now, the urban population have been rise and the design, the structure, and sometimes we don't understand about the corridor of the water flow. So we just build infrastructure without concern about those kind of the topography and hydrology. It becomes flooding. So in the coastal area, it's become flooding every year. So that is this second severe crisis happening right now. And urban heats, nobody use the parks between 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. So that is something that we show that the urban heat right now is become very, very common and become very severe. So this is something that very problematics for the urban residential. And the wastewater treatment is another major issue for the coastal area. So this is the four, and also the destruction of biodiversity, which is the part of our foods. So that are five major problems that happen for the urban areas in the coastal areas. And for the inland, very similar to the coastal, but what are the difference is about the erosion of the riverbanks. Because right now the riverbank, the water flow, especially the Mekong rivers, and that is have a lot of dam, and then the hydrological have been changed, the water speed have been also not very stable. So that caused a lot of problem in terms of the riverbank erosions. And it's not different with the coastal, the urban flooding, river flooding is also the severe problems. It's too much water during the flooded period and too dry in the dry season. So that is always happen for the inland urban city. And urban heat, wastewater, and the urban wetland is also very similar to the coastal. I think all the major may aware, if sometimes you try to question with your people, what is the role of the urban park or urban wetlands? So this is something the people and sometimes even the local authority themselves don't even understand why we need to have the pond behind our house, why we need to preserve the lake in the city, why we don't just reclaim it and build up the high skyscraper, and then the land price will be rising and we will have more space for the residential area. But after you do that, your city become very hot, no air, pollution, the dust. So this is something that it's not really a place for livable city. So that is something that we need to find solution right now, because otherwise, even right now it's 2026, but if you are waiting until 2050 based on the projection, I think this crisis is happen even more than 2050. So that is become very severe, and everyone can really spot by your own eyes and your own experience. So based on the solution, that is a question that well for the mayor, whether you stick with the typical conventional solution, that is mean that if we have the urban flooding, we build a bigger drainage system, or we use a bigger pumping machine. We try to build a dike, we try to build a dam. So that is something very conventional. So for us, we call it is engineered grade infrastructure. Or you go to hybrid. You learn from the nature, but you do the gray infrastructure with the nature. Like here is the picture on the permeable paving. We still have the car parking, but instead of the concrete, we just do the permeable pavement. So it means that when the waters come up, we can really reuse the water, absorb the water, send it to the underground. And instead of equipped with a lot of air conditioner, why don't we do the green roof that have very specific vegetation, they have function to reduce the heat of the building? So that is something we call hybrid system, that we do the great infrastructure with the nature and they play more functions. Or we go on the pure nature-based solution. So that is up to our design, our budget, our finance, and our capacity as well. For us as the expert, we really would like to recommend all the measures and all actually the practitioners thinking about the nature-based solution and the hybrid system. That is the best way that we can really address the problems and make our city more resilient. So let me put here, so based on the budget again, based on the budget, based on your master plan, based on your policy, you can really start the nature-based solution in different scale. If you have the limited budget, why don't we start something small at the site level? And if you have a good regulation at your municipality or in your city, why don't you set up a good regulation to do a kind of the neighborhood or at the communes level? Or if you have power that you can really manage your own finance and really invite the private investment, why don't you do the master plan for your whole city? And then we go to another riverbank basin, that there is the role of the central government. So don't wait the central government. We can do something at our own authority, from your town to the community and to the site level, because we all have this kind of different typology of the nature-based solution that everyone can use it. After this, I think I will share later on the link that you really can download the typology of the nature-based solution in different scale that we already published in the European Union based in ASEAN, in Jakarta as well. So this is just only a simple example. That is the site level. Everything is the same in the school with this kind of tree planting, and we just put a little bit money to convert from the left side to the right side. And this become more slow down the runoff. This school never get flooding again because the water absorbed into underground. And they also purify, generate a kind of the ventilation air for the students studying there. So that is very simple. Okay. And this also the same. That is something the canal, very polluted, not really good aesthetic value. We just do something using something very smart and then convert from the left to the right. So that is we create the function for the drainage system and do a kind of the water infiltration before release it to the river. Or that is a conventional, very nature, but it's not very attractive, and we convert to the right side that attract more tourists to use it. So the left side we call normal park, normal gardens, but on the right side we call it multifunctional park. So in multifunctional park, not only just only the park, but it's the location that do the water treatments and also absorb the water that doing the flood mitigations. So here is a big project. On the right side, that is the riverbank erosion. On the right side, we use a kind of the traditional knowledge plus bioengineer put together on the sandbag, but we make the soil and then pack the plants over there. After 3 years, it becomes the nature of the riverbank protection. So that is something that we can do very simply in the nature-based solutions. So this is something that, I'm sorry for the term. So this is something that we are going to do. That is the case in Cap, very beautiful coastal area of Cambodia. So this is something that we try to design for the whole city, because the city have the whole mountain, the big catchment, so the water spreading out. People living in the downhill like here is always flooding, and the infrastructure are built up just to block all the waterway. So we working with ministry and the municipality try to redesign. Their infrastructure is already good, but we just try to redesign a little bit to make sure the water from upstream flow along the way to do the water treatment on this mangrove before release to the sea. And this side as well, we do a kind of the natural swell. So it have a natural infiltration before release to the sea. So that we can really address the problem of the landslide and also the urban flooding for that city. So that is something that we are doing. So this is the project we are doing right now, as you can see the example. So we restore the seagrass, we planted the mangrove to do the infiltration. We do a kind of the artificial reef to protect the coastline. So that is something that we can do to do on our project zone 1, zone 2, and zone 3. And here is the natural swell that I mentioned. So this natural swell instead of the concrete swell, so all the water are sorbing to that and they infiltrating to underground. So we can really reduce the speed of the water runoff from the mountains. So just bear with me for 3 more minutes. So for your consideration, because according to the survey and according to what we learned from the local government, we think that there are 10 lessons that the mayor from Asia Pacific and our colleagues from practitioner can really take on for the future intervention. First, please think about the local capacity, because the design is simple, but sometimes we don't know that design. So this is something that we need to build up more capacity, especially learning from the existing NBS typology that we already published. you learn from that, and then you can start to build up the capacity at the local level. That is one that we recommend. And second, try to integrate into your existing public investment. Don't make the new project. The new project is quite costly, but if you already have the existing infrastructure investment plan, try to integrate something on that. Otherwise, it will become very costly. So I myself, as the economist, we try to do a kind of the calculation between the pure gray infrastructure or the hybrid. And then when you really can integrate, the cost of very, very, very effective. And the benefit distribution is very large in terms of the benefit cost ratio that I calculate from this. The third, encourage the private investment. In your private developers, try to do the regulation. Let them contribute with us. Move from the left side picture here to this. So their property will be rising up, the quality of living will be high up. So the participation by private sector, I think it's even more effective than the public projects. And wherever that you have the green space, wherever you have the open space, try to plant more tree, but select the native tree. Otherwise, it's just like in Cambodia last couple of years, the survival rate of the tree is less than 50%. That is costly a lot of money for maintenance. So please careful when you select the tree species for planting in your area based on the geographical location, based on the ecosystem and climate. You can discuss with the forestry expert. So they will recommend you what actually the urban tree can be planted in your areas. And please also pay more attention on the urban wetland. Urban wetland, I think many people regarding urban wetland just only the wetland, the land that they just dump the west. It's not true. It is the location, the best blue design location that can really function the whole city, cool down the temperature. So raise the awareness regarding to the function of the urban city, regarding to the ponds, to the lakes. That is something that you can start to learn. So this is the gaps. And the public space also try to think about the equity and the demand of people that using the public space more. It's not some public space is not for only the rich. We need to design for inclusiveness. So that is something we need to do for our cities. And bring more tourists to your city. By building this kind of the solution, you can make your city into three color, not just only one color. If you do just only famous one color, all the building is just only gray. But if you can build your city into three color, blue by the urban wetland and green, that is what are important for the tourism and financing, and do more research. And again, last my slide, try to promote the public awareness, local knowledge for their participation. So this is the key lesson learned. I think that I try to summarize what actually can doable and practicable by the local government. Thank you very much. And if you are really interested, this is the link that everyone can download our material in the EU ASEAN. And if you still have more technical question, feel free to contact me through that my email. Thank you. And welcome for all the questions and comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cho, for showing us the multi-sectoral benefits of nature-based solutions that are contributing not just to the global goals, but also in addressing the triple planetary crisis and making it very digestible, the concept, very digestible to our mayors. Thank you. Let me take this minute if we have questions from the mayors. If there are, you can also email us your questions in case you're not able to think of any just at this moment. Okay, we have a comment from the Kendari City. Yes. The consideration on the restoration of native species. Would you like to respond to this? So this is more of a comment, not a question.
Yeah, I agree with them. That is why the three species that we introduced for the green roof also along the road and also at the swell, it's very tricky because the survival rate in Cambodia that we do it is less than 50%. So it's quite tricky. That's why I recommend try to discuss more with the biological expert and the forestry expert that we are doing right now. We come up with the kind of the study what actually the tree species can be resilient with the certain of the ecological function. If you introduce the non-native species, you cannot bring back the biodiversity to your urban area. So the survival rate is also not very good. So, and then the burden will be just go to the mayor because you need to spend more money for the maintenance on those trees every year. So that is something not really a kind of cost effective for this kind of nature-based solution, but it become the burden for the mayor to spend the money. So before you think about the tree species, consult with the expert first. I cannot recommend what type of species because different country have the different climates. So I believe you have your local expert to introduce you for that.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cho. With that, I think we can conclude the first session and move to our next session on managing crisis in cities. So we will have a series of speakers and experts from our partner organizations and who'll be sharing with us more about the different frameworks involved. So first, allow me to invite Ms. Elisa Raj, Deputy Regional Director for East, Southeast Asia, and Oceania of C40 Cities, to share with us about the green and just transition. Elisa, over to you. You have 10 minutes. Thank
Sure.
you.
Thank you so much, Liz, and wishing everybody a good morning. And of course, to our hosts, as well as the organizers, UCLG, UN agencies, and our lovely and esteemed mayors this morning. I've got 10 minutes, so I'll be a little bit rushed, but we welcome any emails or questions or comments on the side. I can always type responses a little bit later as well. So with that, super quick introduction of C40 Cities. Next slide, please. C40 is a network of mayors of nearly 100 leading cities collaborating to deliver urgent action needed to confront the climate crisis. We have three key missions, really to support and encourage our cities decrease emissions in their territories to avoid further global warming. The second one, to increase the resilience of cities so that they are able to actually face a changing climate. And the third one, which is most related to today's topic that I'll be presenting on, to ensure that as cities actually undertake and deliver their climate action, they are actually doing this in an inclusive and equitable manner as much as possible. Next slide, please. So I will cover very quickly what is a green and just transition to C40 cities, and of course, how mayors can deliver this. And I've got a page of toolkits and resources that I won't present, but will be shared with you. Again, as you look through them, if you have questions, do reach out. Next slide, please. So what is a just transition? And I'm framing this from a C40 perspective. A just transition means greening the economy in a fair and inclusive way, creating and safeguarding decent work opportunities, and trying our best to ensure that no one is left behind. So in practice, this means trying to make sure that the social and economic opportunities of the climate actions that our cities implement are actually really maximizing implications for the communities that need it the most, while also carefully managing and balancing negative consequences or impacts that can occur. Now, I want to just highlight, it is really important that everyone remembers there's no clear or perfect way to facilitate or factor just transitions. However, I hope that the presentation today will share examples of what or specific points you can maybe try to incorporate into the very important work you're already doing as mayors of big cities and small cities as well. The next slide, please. So I'm using the UN Global Green New Deal principle as a bit of a basis because I feel it provides a good framework for us to guide how we actually approach just transitions. And I would love to encourage mayors and cities to mainstream as much as possible of this into your city processes. I'm going to focus a little bit more on the first three in this section. Next slide, please. I know most of you are aware you're from these countries, and there's other countries that have had heat waves across the last, few weeks already. So these headlines are already just in the last 10, 11 days of May. And I think what's really important to keep in mind is this year, especially, it's going to get worse, with most countries predicting that a super El Nino is coming its way in Q3. So this is one thing. It considers countries, but even in urban areas and even within rural municipalities, the urban centers that you might have, these are areas often with more concrete, less vegetation, and can become significantly hotter by up to 10 degrees, in some cases more, but usually 7 to 10 degrees, compared to really rural areas with lots of vegetation. And the reason I'm bringing this, again, we have multiple climate threats, but I feel like heat is the unseen item. And I also wanted to bring in a gendered impact as we look at just transitions, right? An ADP report highlighted that while men often do more outdoor work, especially men from lower socioeconomic backgrounds, they may work in, as peddlers, selling things on streets, or construction workers, or maybe just simply outdoor workers. They are exposed to high daytime temperatures over longer periods of time, but can often seek refuge under shade or perhaps in, taking breaks as needed. But one thing that we don't factor is women who often live in, or women from poorer backgrounds. They may live in households that are not considered well constructed. So if you think of informal settlements with zinc roofs, these spaces during extreme heat events can become what they called an oven, like an oven effect. And these women who have caretaking responsibilities, take care of children and elderly, even disabled relatives, cannot actually seek refuge because the home is what they assume is the refuge. So during heat events, more women actually can die, and that's what data has shown. So again, just touching on this really briefly, heat in isolation is bad enough, but of course it can have compounding effects. It can influence micro and even macro weather patterns. So the places that rain falls can be different from what we're historically used to, and these areas may not be equipped to manage the floods. And of course, drought can happen as well. Next slide, please. So looking at curbing emissions, this is in a way what cities need to do to stop the planet from getting warmer. So again, I want to first acknowledge, I know the mayors on this call are from cities that are not as large as our cities in C40. So just keep that in mind. But despite that, I think it's really important to highlight that greenhouse gas inventories are a powerful tool. And there are a few reasons for this. I think the first one is it lets you understand your baseline, what is actually going on in your city. It lets you, based on this information, set realistic goals, decide where you actually want to channel limited resource quite often into actions that will have the most impact. And at the end of it, if you regularly conduct your emissions monitoring, or you're regularly undertaking emissions inventories, you will be able to evaluate if your policies are working or not. So I just wanted to highlight as well, like between Tokyo and Melbourne, the little green dot is Tokyo, the little blue triangle is actually Melbourne. When you're looking at total emissions, Melbourne's is much smaller because it has a smaller territory, whereas Tokyo is huge with a much larger population. But if you look at the actual impacts when you're dividing it per capita, you'll realize Tokyo's is a lot smaller, and the transport is a lot smaller because of the way that the urban center has been designed. So the reason I'm pointing this out is just to highlight to mayors that by understanding where your cities are doing well or where it's performing as a baseline, you'll be able to then target the initiatives you want. So I'll jump to the next slide as well. I think this one is putting inclusive climate action at the center. So I think we all know this already. Climate change does not impact everyone equally, and the people who contribute the least are suffering the most. So by undertaking or understanding your city, mapping exercises, for example, they will probably highlight that poorer communities often live in areas that are less served by public transport and services, which means they have to either spend a bit more money or much more time to access jobs, to access services. At the same time, the second point, I think climate action can have unintended social and economic consequences. Again, potentially negative impacts on poorer communities. One method of managing heat because it was the example I used earlier, is to actually include more air conditioners in households. But this has a negative impact on greenhouse gas emissions. Now, to combat this, mayors might put in minimum regulations for energy efficiency standards, which can actually result in rising costs of these air conditioning units. And poor households may not be able to afford them, further putting them at risk in climate events as well. So just keep that in mind that, again, I'm giving you all the problems, but I have a few solutions, I promise. The last point is really, as mayors and city leaders, our response to climate crisis needs to be just and inclusive, and it really does need to meet as many people's, kind of needs as possible, but due to limited funds, make sure that the most impacted and the communities that need the most support are the biggest benefactors. Next slide, please. So how can mayors deliver a green and just transition? Before we jump in, I want to remind all mayors, each city is unique again. You have different contexts and authority or power. So take and use what you can as much as you can. Next slide, please. So there are 7 key pillars that we've identified as, pillars to achieve a just transition. The first one is really bold leadership. This is non-negotiable. As a mayor, you do have some powers, whether it's formal legislation or maybe informal power to convene and build coalition. So we need mayoral commitment on this. The second one is really looking at, a needs assessment, landscape survey. This translates to data and needs. You can't fix what you don't understand, so use tools and mapping exercises to help build the case, to help understand where to prioritize your financing and budgets. The third one is really inclusive engagements. Cities in my country of Malaysia have traditionally gone from deciding for what is best for the communities without talking to them. But I think it's really important to engage partners, communities, labor unions, marginalized groups, civil society organizations, because they have knowledge that can help you and actually make things move or progress quicker. Strategic advocacy, which is like the fourth point, I think we need to understand that cities have a lot of power and they cannot do things alone. So really work with your neighboring towns, your regions, your national governments. Try to get momentum and convene based on your priorities. You may not work with everybody, but you can find groups or cohorts of people to work with. And of course, the fifth one is really implementing and adopting just transition initiatives. So this requires linking and consolidating and integrating the work that you're already doing, and also tracking, which is the next point, tracking what you actually are doing and the outcomes of it to further build a case and attract financing. And of course, the last one is really using all of this to ensure that you have a sustainable funding stream to make sure that your programs don't end after 1 or 2 years, that they're built into the processes. Next slide, please. I'm going to quickly share 3 key examples where I feel like they have touched upon covering climate action, but linking it to inclusive and equitable impacts that are positive for the environment as well as the people. So the La Rolita project in Bogota, it focused a lot on recruiting and training women from disadvantaged and single mother households to become drivers for their new 100% electric fleet. Now this, who's managing this is actually a joint partnership between a city and a private sector transport agency, a transport company. And as a result of this, about 60% of La Rolita's bus drivers are women, which is a very progressive statistic when you compare it to less than 2% women's participation rate across Bogota's public transport sector. So this is a huge thing. What was really required as they engaged with women was that there was more support required. Now, keep in mind, these are women from disadvantaged communities, quite a few of them who are single mothers. And so they needed subsidized childcare. They also needed improved infrastructure. For example, toilets. Men might be able to run in and out of a toilet that's not very clean, but women once a month need to have access to clean running water and spaces that they can utilize. So these were all put in as part of, the planning, and about 300 jobs were created. So in summary, the just transition consideration here is the climate action was to improve public transport and to decarbonize public transport. And the inclusive factor, of course, is making sure that the routing is going through underserved low-income areas. But the equitable lens here was really to focus on creating good green jobs for lower socioeconomic status and females from underprivileged homes as a priority. Next slide, please. Many of you are probably familiar with this, so I won't go into as much detail, but Quezon City has this amazing Grow QC project that has actually been in the development for a long time as well. So just to acknowledge that it didn't just come out, it's a progressive compounding program over the last 10, 15 years since, the joy of urban farming. So the city during the pandemic realized that all their transport workers, especially the informal ones, had no jobs because of the COVID lockdown. So as a pandemic response, and to ensure that at least food security and potentially a little bit of livelihood and income is provided, they then work towards identifying unused land within the area of Quezon City and worked with the private landowners to free up this land through leases and tax exemption or benefits for their part, but then to also cultivate and create space for urban farmers to use. There's a lot of different supporting elements like seed kits, trainings, and other kind of mechanisms that were created to support these farmers. And I know it says here it's 337 urban gardens established, but actually it is already up to 1,000 at this point. So my slide is slightly outdated, forgive me. And about 25,000 farmers exist across the city, across these 1,000 sites. During the pandemic alone, the improved livelihoods touched on 4,000 residents who didn't actually have formal income at that point. And so this number, as you can see, has grown from 4,000 to 25,000. Now, this initiative is especially important because the Philippines government has recognized this and is adopting this into a national program. So this highlights the influence that local leaders can have, nationally and potentially internationally as well. Next slide, please. The last one I'm going to touch upon is Medellin's green corridors. So Medellin had rampant development in the 90s and early 2000s that resulted in the urban heat island increasing by several degrees Celsius. So to combat this in 2015, 2016, they established 30 green corridors along major roads and waterways. As a result of these, the urban heat island across the city in the last sort of 5-6 years has decreased by 2 degrees Celsius on average. So that's the entire city area, with areas surrounding the green corridors decreasing by about 10 degrees Celsius as well. So this is a really good number, and it really promotes, and I think Dr. Pandith was also touching on the urban nature earlier, it really highlights what it can be done in practice if you really commit to it. But I think the kind of just transition links for this program is really the climate action was to decrease urban heat island and increase urban nature within the city. It was also kind of removing road space for cars and putting that back to sustainable transport, also relating to socioeconomic status, right? Richer people usually drive cars, whereas poorer people may need to use public transport, may need to use bicycles or their feet to walk. So by creating more comfortable spaces for them, we're ensuring that, we're able to give, poorer communities what they need, better access. And at the same time, of course, create new green jobs and provide closer access to green spaces. Next slide, please. I have a feeling I'm almost done with my time, so I'll be very quick. 2 minutes, 1 minute. Okay, I'll summarize this. I think not going to go into details, but understand that as a mayor, please advocate your needs. You have a platform far beyond your own city, and use it, and use it to the best of your advantage. The second point is you cannot do this alone. Your resources are limited. So collaborate with partners, with academic institutions to do the research and mapping for you. Get creative so that you're able to sustain the work and really channel your limited resources to the areas where you need to prioritize. And I think lastly, the third point is create formal partnerships where you can. National governments and private sectors have a lot of finance. And quite often, if you put in a policy, I think Dr. Pandith mentioned this earlier as well, the private sector will actually be able to implement it for you if it's clear. Next slide, please. Just a quick 4-step strategy for mayors. So set an agenda, demonstrate your leadership, influence others, and ensure that you have an accountability mechanism, so monitoring, reporting, and evaluate to attract your financing and to keep that and grow that as well. Next slide, please. And next slide again, thanks. I've just listed some resources here. There is a lot more, but I will just go to the last slide, which is just a quick reminder, C40's vision of climate action is rooted in equity and a green and just future for all, because we know that climate, social, and economic justice can only be achieved together. So very fast, I'll end it there. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Alisa. And sorry, we have very limited time, but at least we were able to deliver and remind us that climate action is not just addressing climate change, but the social and economic inequalities that come with it as well. So thank you once again, Alisa, for joining us and enlightening our mayors about the green and just transition. So if we have questions for Elisa, you can send us via chat or via email and we will forward it to Elisa. Thank you once again. And without further ado, so the next three speakers will actually be discussing circular economy, which we consider an important framework to inform our mayors about. So our next speaker is Mr. Sudhir Sharma, Regional Coordinator from the UN Environment Program. Sudhir, are you with us?
Yes,
You have
indeed.
the floor. You
Yes.
have 10 minutes
10
if
minutes.
you can. Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
I'll
you.
try to be short because I mistimed the session and I need to be in another meeting,
I
unfortunately.
see.
Is somebody making the presentation available online?
Yes, we will be sharing the slides. Songhan?
Oh, you're starting from the wrong end. While we are at it, let me kind of start off. I think the slides would come. Thank you so much for inviting UNEP to be part of this. It's a pleasure being with the mayors of the city who actually take real actions, and hopefully I can share some of the thoughts, a bit theoretical, but some of the thoughts which will help you address some of the challenges you face in your day-to-day, making the city a better place to live for everyone. I think what I'm seeing on the screen, I don't know. I see the last slide.
Yes, I also see the last slide. Let
I
us
think that is
try to. I can try to share from my screen as well.
So while Liz is helping us with the screen, we can go to the first, second, third slide. Maybe we can skip the first two.
Are you able to see the screen on the
Yeah.
right slide now? All right.
Yeah, we are on the right slide. So I don't know how much you're familiar with the circularity, but I thought it might be useful to talk a little bit about what exactly do we mean. Essentially, over last, I would say 3 to 4 decades, or maybe a little bit more, we moved into a system where we actually extract resources out of Earth, convert them into products that we need to use them, and then dispose them. At no point, so it's become much more a use and dispose kind of a regime. So that's the linear economy that we have been following. When we talk about circularity, what we are essentially saying is that how can we minimize our extraction at the beginning, and how can we prolong the use of the products that we have created amongst us, and importantly, how do we reduce the use, because we do have a lot of overuse. So essentially the cycle starts at the design state, where you design the products in a way that they can last longer. They can actually be repurposed or repaired easily, and they could be then at the end of the life, when either they could be refurbished for reuse, or they could actually be repurposed and create, into different products which could still be in use. And lastly, before we dispose of whatever can be extracted out of these products, so that we don't have to destroy virgin land for extracting minerals, we extract that. So that's the cycle. Now, the thing is basically, I guess with prosperity, one of the banes that we got was the bane of being able to assume that Earth has enough for all of us, and we don't need to kind of care about minimizing our consumption or utilizing the products. But if you go back, say 70 years, 80 years, you would see societies when we were not so affluent and when we were a lot more kind of dependent on resources amongst our own communities, we would recycle a lot of products and use them. And in fact, you would see old families where products were much more repaired and reused rather than bought a new one as soon as a new model came in. So I think we basically are talking about now going back to the same particular scenario. Next slide, please. Quickly, when I talk about circularities in cities, and I think the mayors would recognize this, the two main challenges that we face, and I'll just focus on them: waste management and pollution. We recently launched a global outlook for waste management 2024, and you can see that if we do not address our waste, it actually is going to increase significantly. In fact, it will be more than double by 2050. So just to highlight the challenge that we see, the second half of the right half of the slide essentially shows the impact of pollution. So if you look at the, we have the WHO criteria for safe PM 2.5 levels. And if you look at these upper middle cities and lower middle cities, you would see that a large number of days in the cities are well beyond the WHO set limits for PM 2.5 emissions. And this is not one city, this is a number of cities, and I think you deal with that every day. We all deal with that every day in our life. Next slide, please. The same outlook, we carried out some analysis, and that analysis actually says that if we address some of the aspects in terms of better managing our waste, better controlling the use of our products, we could significantly reduce actually the waste growth. But if we add circularity to it, the circularity actually could not only help manage or maintain the waste generation at the level at which we currently have, but it will actually also lead to reduction in waste reduction. Now, in terms of the benefits that you see, is you save a lot of land in your city. You save a lot of cost of managing your waste. And I'll show that in the next slide, that we actually could also gain a lot in terms of economic activities and the benefits that it generates. I'll focus on two parts of the waste that you deal with in your daily lives significantly. One is the food or the organic waste, and second is the plastic and e-waste. So on the food waste side, essentially roughly 50 to 60% of the food waste or the organic waste is part of the total waste that is collected. Most of the cities don't segregate it. As a result, it ends up in dump sites. And it is a major contributor to GHG emissions. So a lot of cities, like in Bangkok, the city has started a policy where they've increased the rate of fee on collecting waste, and essentially working with the private sector. Again, the private sector comes in to ensure that the waste, actually the wet waste or the food waste, is not disposed of to the municipal trucks, but is composted either on-site or segregated and composted in venues. So that itself will reduce the collection and management costs for the waste. So that releases a lot of funds for some of the other activities our earlier speakers talked about. Similarly, when we look at plastics and e-waste, we have the same challenge here. We're looking at a number of solutions. So designing from the circularity, which is essentially looking at products which can last longer, can be reused. That's a much more longer term process, but reducing the use of packaging is one of the first ones that should be focused on. so that we reduce the total amount of waste. Second, what you will see is a lot of communities have started, or companies have started getting into refilling models, especially where you're buying products like shampoos or other oil or other food products, where you can actually, instead of having a new packaging every time you buy the product, you can use either your own bottles or containers. So that's becoming very, very, very kind of an important tool in managing this waste, so that we do not produce too much of plastic packaging. Second is the reverse logistics, where actually the electronic sector has started setting up systems where they have started collecting their own products and repurposing these products. So this again goes back into the recycling aspect. And now these both activities, one saves money, the second actually helps increase the value of the product, make it last longer. And the last essentially is that we basically recover and recycle. Next slide, please. I think I'm running slow, so I'll speed up. I'll leave the material on the right-hand side for you to take a look at it. These essentially indicate some of the policies. And one of the important sectors, buildings, where a lot of construction waste comes out. And how do we address that construction waste? Again, using circularity principles help us both reduce the waste, prolong the life of the building, and also kind of repurpose the building rather than demolishing the buildings at the end of, when they need to be used for some different purposes. But more importantly, what I wanted to talk about is that we, in the analysis, did some assessment on if we are going towards the business as usual case. You can see the total cost can be quite significant, and they will increase compared to today. But if we move towards the circularity principles, the actual cost of managing the waste comes down significantly and is almost 1/3 of the cost today, which also reduces the amount of landfill required, amount of waste that needs to be collected, and as well as the beneficial flows that come out of using circularity principles. Next slide, please. Now, one of the big challenges that we face in the city is also air pollution, and that's the second topic which I was requested to cover. We took some analysis here. You can see, and this analysis shows that actually the health impact of PM 2.5 and HAP, the other pollutants, is quite significant. And this is basically by age groups. And you can see that either the impact is very high on young children, or it becomes very high on older age group people. And then to that, I would add that poor or less endowed communities are even much more impacted than the richer communities. So essentially goes back again to addressing the inclusivity issue, that it's mostly these populations which are providing a lot of services to us in the cities which get affected. Just highlighting 2 points, I think Liz already touched upon some of this. 2 things which are quite important in terms of looking at how do we address it. One is the urban planning. I mean, we look at end of the pipe solutions. We are looking at some of the other solutions where we are increasing public transport access. But you must have heard of what is called the 15-minute city. So that essentially people living don't have to travel long to cover most of their needs, either to work or to shop or for recreation. So that becomes very integral part, and that helps both in terms of increasing the public transport use and reducing the travel cost. Plus, importantly, as we talked about, integrating in that the non-motorized transport. And especially, again, coming back, this helps most the communities which don't have the resources to access cars or other motorized transport means. The other aspect which the first 2 speakers have touched about, if we are addressing the air pollution, is greening the city. It does help address the extreme heat which we are going to face as climate change ramps up, and also it kind of helps reduce the pollution. So the more we can green the city and bring in our planning green areas, the better we address. So I think that's a solution which is kind of creating synergies across various issues that we are addressing. In terms of, when we are addressing air pollution, and most of the mayors mention climate change is their biggest concern. And essentially, if you look at it, most of the air pollution, and even if you look at the circularity solutions in waste, actually help reduce GHG emissions significantly from the cities and also increase the resilience in the cities. In terms of the economic benefits, whether it is the air pollution or whether we are managing the waste, it frees up a lot more resources for the government, for the mayors in the cities to actually then address some of the other challenges which in the current stage we are unable to, because the cities are spending a lot more money on managing waste, on addressing the mobility challenge, because a lot of funds go into addressing the infrastructure. Next slide, please. And I think this might be my last one. There are a number of resources. Since we are short in time, you will get the slides. I will be happy to come back and discuss this with you. UNEP is working in a number of these areas, and we have a lot of resources, tools, and case studies which could help you design and address solutions in your cities. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sudhir. So let me take this chance to ask our mayors if they have a quick question before you go to your next meeting. If not, please feel free to send us an email if you have a question. All right, we have a comment from
Indonesia.
From Kendari City.
Yes, in fact, I didn't talk about that. I did mention, so a number of cities have started working with the restaurants and supermarkets, where you actually, instead of throwing the food, can take the food and distribute it. So I think that's what the mayor is referring to.
Yes, thank you so much for commenting on the comment. If there are no other questions or comments, thank you once again, Sudhir, for joining us, and hope to see you again in the next opportunity.
Thank
Without
you.
further
And if
ado,
there are any questions, please send it to us. Thanks.
yes, we will. Thank you so much. Without further ado, we have two more speakers on the circular economy. Allow me to give the floor to our next speaker, Mr. Ravi Ranjan Guru, the Deputy Director General of All India Institute for Local Self-Government, to share their experience and their work on the circular economy. Ravi, the floor is yours. If you could have 10 minutes.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Liz, and thanks UCLG Aspect and all the organizer for inviting us for this important session. Can I get my slide here? Possibly.
Yes, we will.
Before they just load, just to give you a background of All India Institute of Local Self-Government, we are a very old organization in India. It's established in 1926. Now we are celebrating our 100 years. We're working in India with almost all parts of the India on different projects and programs and activities. Yeah, here is my slide. Next, please. So, of course, like I say, that All India Institute of Local Self-Government is very old organizations, and we have a very strong network in India. We work with the vision of knowledge and empowerment to form the bedrock of excellence in local governance through shared best practices, Of course, we support, we are one of the premier institute which support the urban local governance on the quality educations, training and advocacy. We work on the various component, but yes, we are responsiveness to problem of environment safety and constant value additions through need-based solutions. Next, please. We have a 50 plus centers in India. I will show you the maps also. We work with almost all the state, like I said that. It's 100 years of our establishment that we are celebrating here in India. Next, please. We work on the, of course, thanks to my previous speakers, most of the basic concept has been covered as a part of the circular economy. Of course, I'll straight away go to the how ALS has been working with the cities on the various circular economic concept. But the more or less that area we cover is the capacity building programs. We work on the disaster risk reduction program. We do a lot of seminars and policy advocacy here in India. We are also part of the various global programs like Global Covenant of Mayors, Climate Resilience Inclusive Cities, which of course UCLG aspect was the lead that time. We do a lot of publications linked with the urban local bodies here in India. Within the ALAG also we have a lot of institutions so that we can provide the necessary support to the urban local bodies here in India. If you see the map of India, these all are our physical centers. Like I said, we are almost everywhere in India. Next, please. We cover the various sectors here in India, like water sectors, urban planning, housing sectors, solid waste management sectors. We work on the disabilities component as well. Next, please. Yeah, we do a lot of training and capacity building programs. We have the skill development program as well. And of course, the climate and energy programs that we're running very strongly here in India. Next, please. I'll just skip this because already it's been covered, so I'm not going to waste my time here. So next, please. Is we explained very well about the circular economy. So I straight away come to my next. Yeah, here. Coming back to the how All India Institute of Local Self-Government has been supporting the circular economy work in the various urban local bodies. We are supporting the urban local bodies in transitioning from linear waste system to circular resource system. We are the technical consultant here in many places. We provide the technical assistance under the Swachh Bharat missions, which is one of the Government of India's initiatives here in India. We have Amrut, which is a basic urban services program started by the Government of India. And there are a lot of climate action initiatives that Government of India and the state and the urban local bodies are running. So we are providing the technical assistant as a part of the work that ALS has been doing. Of course, we focus on waste to wealth solutions. I'll give you some of the project example as well on the later part of my presentation. We focus on waste to wealth solutions. We have a lot of programs where we talk about the resource recovery system, and Government of India also has a lot of importance on the waste recovery systems. We work on the sustainable urban infrastructure, circular sanitation, and solid waste management model. If you look into the entire circular economy transformation, ALSG as an organization, we've been supporting the urban local bodies on the research and assessment part, how this really helps. We're helping many urban local bodies here in India on the detailed project report preparation on the solid waste management, which talks about all the important component in designing to the implementation part. Like I said, that we are one of the premier institute which provide the maximum number of capacity building programs here in India for all the tiers of the government system and all the including the elected representative, including the officials, and including the sanitation worker as well. We work with the government policy and the government support program as well. Next, please. We are helping the cities on the solid and plastic waste management, where the planning include the scientific waste segregations, of course, collections, processing, and recycling system to maximize the resource recovery and minimize the landfill disposal. We have designed the many urban local bodies solid waste management system, including the material recovery facilities. Recently, we have done the project in Maharashtra with the 143 urban local bodies. That project I will talk about. We also look into the various system in using of the waste to well system like compost plant, bio CNG plants, and the CND waste facilities that convert waste into the valuable resources. I'm sure that many of your cities must be doing this, but as a part of the organization, we are supporting this component in the here in India. We also providing and supporting in enabling the decentralized waste management models that, of course, reduce the transportation cost, emissions, and environmental impact component. We many of the DPRs that we prepared is talk about the integrating the circular economy principle into the municipal system by promoting the reuse, recycling, and composting. That also talks about the energy recovery from the waste stream. We are providing all kind of financially component as well when we preparing the detailed project report. So if you see the entire value chain of integrated waste management, we talk about the source segregations, we went door-to-door collections, very important component which directly link with the circular economy component and which reduce the, of course, like my previous speaker mentioned about the important, that's the material recovery facilities that most of the urban local bodies are establishing here in India. Of course, we processing that's maybe include the composting, bio CNG. It's of course depend on the choice by the urban local bodies that what based on the segregation quality and based on the system we propose them these are the processing component by the for the urban local bodies. Very important, that's resource recovery, that's very important, and that's somehow talks about the circular economic component. Next, please. Other than that, we have worked on the sanitation and water sustainability also. We LSC with the UNICEF we have provided the technical support for fecal sludge and septic management for the 4 states in India, which include Assam, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, and Madhya Pradesh. Here we actually looked into the scientific sludge treatment. We always advocate for the dedicated budget and a scaling up of SSM intervention. Many states, based on these projects and program, has started doing that, and many places we are supporting this component. Of course, the grey water management, demonstrating the participatory planning for the rural and peri-urban geographies. We look into the when intervention into the policy roadmap as well. Until unless the government take in the policy level, generally these intervention does not take further steps. So we look into that component as well. We developing the state level roadmap for the sustainable sanitation practices. Under this project, we looked into and we got the very kind of important component is that improve the public health and dignity. Protect the water resources, promote the reuse and resource recovery, and of course, building the sustainable and resilient communities. This is a very interesting project that we have done, and really we got very good appreciation, and most of these 4 states are taking it forward. Next, please. Another initiative that Government of India is a Jal Jeevan mission, which talks about the every household should be connected with the water system. Of course, this projects and programs, ALSG as an organization, we played very important role as a key resource centers where we've been supporting the Government of India's and the Government of India's programs in providing the technical support as well as the capacity building programs. We done maximum number of training programs under the Jal Jeevan missions and as a KRC. And of course, the Jal Jeevan missions talks about the strengthening the communities, local bodies for improved water supply system. There are different connecting sectors that this project talks about, which of course is a gender equality, disability inclusion, which actually gives the right or accessible water infrastructure for person with disabilities. Inclusion of social inclusion is one of the component, and of course disaster resilience. That's really talks about the strengthening the community resilience and ensure the quick and equitable water access. Under this projects programs, ALSG has been supporting the many states as a capacity building and key resource center organization. Next, please. This is a interesting project that just mentioned that where we actually working on the circular economic concept and basically it's been like I say that we developed more than 143 ULBs detailed project report of solid waste management in Maharashtra, which talks about the maximum resource recovery and minimize the landfill disposal. That's a very important because here you actually handle or tackle all the issues like climate change and the wastage of materials. So in the most of this DPR project and the detailed project preparation component, ALAZ worked on the providing the sustainable solid waste management and submitting to the state unit on the for the technical evaluation committee. We also helped urban local bodies in the bid process and appointment. Like after the approval by the government or by the state government as a SLTC, we actually help the state and the cities for bids, which are actually tendered out for the selecting the organization. So we help the bids are called through open tenders and qualified bidder is appointed. We are also monitoring and implementation this component. ALAZ monitor the work and ensure the successful on the ground implementation of work. So not only the preparing the master plan and the DPR, but we are also helping the cities like hand holding kind of a things in implementation of the solid waste management project and including the circular economic concept. Here in most of the programs project, we talked about the promoting the circular economy. We have included the maximizing the recovery resource recovery that talks about the MRF system and everything. How to reduce, of course, when you recover the maximum materials, so landfill minimize the landfill dependency and the building the clean, livable and the sustainable cities. This is very interesting project and we are on the last monitoring and implementation phase of the project, and hopefully we'll be having very good, like Lee's mentioned about the Pune as a case studies during her presentation. That's also cover this projects. Next, please. Uh, of course, this is a interesting project where you can see that the sanitary landfill was designed, and we looked into the all the components of how the solid waste management disposable system can be designed. We are impaneled by the Mission Directorate of the Maharashtra Urban Development Missions to provide the comprehensive consultancy for statewide solid waste management infrastructure. We focused on the integrated solid waste management project for diverse urban local bodies. Here, actually, we focused on the holistic approach where we looked into the scientific collection and segregation of waste, optimize the transportation logistic, and of course, state-of-art processing and recycling unit, and sustainable disposable and monitoring system. Next, please. Government of India has very interesting component where ALSG has been strongly working across India. If you look at the map of India, these are the maximum capacity building programs linked with the National Swachhata Knowledge Partner, which talks about the solid waste management and the importance of the IEC components and awareness. Institutional capacity building programs, all these under this programs talked about. As a ALSG, we experience in capacity building programs. We overview of capacity building training undertaken in the last 5 years in core and non-core thematic area of the missions. Training outline composition of the learning group, material and circular curriculum used, methodology for delivery, time cost, impact. We also looked into the abstract of the project undertaken with the center, state, urban territories, government on the urban waste management, sanitation in area of planning, implementation, management, and monitoring. This is ongoing programs and ongoing activities. Government of India, we are engaged and we are providing the regular training programs under this Swachhata Knowledge Partners. As per my information, we are covering more than 200 urban local bodies as a part of these programs. Next, please.
Ravi, if you could
Yep.
conclude in a minute. Thank you.
Yes, I think it's a one or two maximum slides. This is a link with the Swachhta. I just give you the picture of that how we are doing as a knowledge sharing and the capacity building programs, like in Andhra Pradesh. Next, please. This is my last slides because I think because of time we can't complete all, but my presentation will be available to all of you. We are very strongly working on the Pune and Nasik division where we train more than 30,000 sanitation workers. We have trained the 270 engineers and executive, worked on the 60 municipal corporations under the training programs as a part of the strengthening the urban sanitation institution for cleaner and sustainable Maharashtra. These are some of the pictures and photographs where you looked into, you can see that the training programs on the officers, technical officers and field staff. I think that's it from my side. If you have any more questions and any queries, I would be very happy to answer that. Thank you, Liz, for inviting us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ravi, for sharing with us your very strong experience in capacity building for local governments in India and how that is helped, of course, with your expertise, you're able to share that with the local governments in India and how important it is that integrated solutions in key sectors can build sustainable communities. And you also showed us the importance of collaborating with various institutions and working with the people and not just the local governments. Thank you so much, Ravi. If there's any quick question from our mayors, please let us know. So, if not, we will forward any other pressing questions you may have to our speakers later on. Thank you once again, Ravi. And without further
Thank you
ado,
so
our
much.
last speaker for this session. Thank you for your patience and apologies for the lack of time. But let me invite Mr. Noriaki Yokowichi, the Director for Global Initiatives Division, Policy Administration and International Affairs Bureau of the City of Yokohama.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you for introducing me. Can you hear my voice? Okay, thank you
Yes,
very much.
we can hear.
Honorable mayors, distinguished guests, and esteemed organizers, I would like to express my sincere gratitude for the opportunity to speak here today. My name is Noriaki Yokoichi from the city of Yokohama. Today, it is my great pleasure to share with you Yokohama's approach to the circular economy under the title From Strategy to Action. In the next several minutes, I will explain how Yokohama translates long-term climate and sustainability strategies into practical on-the-ground actions and how circular economy plays a key role in addressing multiple urban crises. So next slide, please. Let me begin with a brief introduction to Yokohama. Yokohama is Japan's largest municipality with a population of about 4 million, and it is located next to Tokyo and functions as a major economic and international hub. Our city welcomes around 38 million visitors annually, and our GDP is approximately 100 billion US dollars. We are also home to many global companies, research and development centers, and startups. For 9 consecutive years, Yokohama has been ranked as the most desirable city to live in Japan. This strong economic base allows us to experiment with and scale up innovative sustainability policies. Next slide, please. This slide outlines Yokohama's long-term vision towards a green and circular society. Our ultimate goal is to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. To reach that goal, we have set intermediate milestones, including a 50% reduction by 2030, with concrete actions leading up to Green Expo 2027, which Yokohama will host. Our climate actions are built on four key pillars. First, empowering citizens. Second, empowering businesses. Third, implementing innovative technologies. Lastly, taking strong action as a local government. To ensure accountability, we are developing KPIs for each measure, and we doubled our climate-related budget between 2024 to 2025. Within this framework, the transition to a circular economy is positioned as a core strategy for achieving our green society while addressing climate change, resource constraints, and social challenges simultaneously. Next slide, please. Yes, thank you. Minatomirai 21 is Yokohama's central business district, covering about 200 hectares and employing approximately 130,000 people. In 2022, this district was selected by Japan's national government as a leading decarbonization area, and it now serves as a pioneering model in line with the national climate goals. The district accounts for roughly 10% of the city's business sector energy consumption and is working toward 100% net zero GHG emissions by 2030. Key initiatives include integrated energy management with district heating and cooling operators, solar panels installed on roads and public infrastructure, electric vehicles and fuel cell vehicles, and collaboration with remote municipalities to secure renewable energy. What is critical here is the integration of energy, mobility, and circular economy measures at the district scale. Next slide, please. This slide shows our efforts to visualize resource circulation in Minatomirai 21. By using data-driven visualization, we aim to accelerate the circular transition at the district level. On the left, you can see resources flowing into the district, such as electricity and energy, food and beverages, plastics, clothing, and construction materials. The center and the right illustrates what happens after use, including waste plastics, food waste, discarded textiles, and wastewater. While there are examples of calculating circularity at the level of individual businesses or buildings, this is a unique initiative as it calculates circularity at the district level. And it is expected to help identify priority areas for improving resource circulation and ultimately reduce GHG emissions. Next slide, please. Thank you. This slide presents examples of circular economy initiatives promoted in close collaboration with citizens and local businesses. The butterfly diagram illustrates the relationship between upstream and downstream processes, linking regeneration, reuse, recycling, and refurbishment. It also plots examples of Yokohama City's efforts. On the left side, you can see examples of regeneration initiatives, such as reducing GHG emissions from transportation by shortening the physical distance between agricultural producers and consumers, and collecting used cooking oil from households to produce sustainable aviation fuel. At the bottom left, there is a SDGs locker aimed at reducing food waste. This initiative involves placing unmanned lockers in high-traffic areas outside bakery business hours to sell bread nearing its expiration date. It has significantly contributed to reducing bread waste. As a result, expansion in local locations and the variety of food items is expected. On the right side, we see initiatives such as bottle-to-bottle plastic recycling, upcycling construction waste into furniture and new products. Through these efforts, Yokohama promotes a citywide circular ecosystem jointly created by government, citizens, and businesses. Next slide, please. Circular economy is not something cities can achieve alone. Yokohama has worked with major Asian cities to issue an open letter calling for stronger international support for circular cities. As a result, it was happened last year. As a result, 24 cities from 7 countries have joined this initiative, and ICLEI Japan established an Asia Circular Cities Declaration, or ACCD framework, and we will launch the Asia Pacific Circular Cities Forum, or APCC Forum. The forum is planned as a platform to make the ACCD framework operational and effective by supporting cities in turning shared commitments into concrete policies, projects, and actions. The APCC forum this year will be held in September under the theme Pathways Toward Circular Cities in the Asia Pacific region. Through this forum, we aim to move from dialogue to commitment to implementation and measurable progress. In this context, we sincerely hope that the mayors participating in this Mayors Academy will also join us at the APCC Forum and continue this journey to collaboration and implementation. Next slide, please. And further, in 2027, we will host Green Expo 2027, the International Horticultural Expo. This expo will welcome over 10 million visitors with participation from more than 70 countries and international organizations. Its central message is to showcase future cities realized through green innovation and nature-based solutions. Circular economy will be one of the key themes demonstrated not only through exhibits, but through how the event itself is organized and operated. Next slide, please. This is my last slide. In addition, Yokohama will host the 9th Asia Pacific Urban Forum, Booth 9 in 2027, together with ESCAP. APOOF is the largest regional platform for urban stakeholders in the Asia Pacific. It brings together national and local governments, the private sector, academia, and civil society. We see APOOF 9 as a key opportunity to connect circular economy actions at the city level with regional and global agendas, including the SDGs and climate commitments. Next, please. In closing, Yokohama's experience showed that circular economy is not just an environmental policy. It's a practical, integrated approach to addressing climate change, resource constraints, social challenges, and economic transformation. We believe that cities are uniquely positioned to turn strategy into action and to lead the transition toward more sustainable and resilient urban futures. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Noriaki Yokoichi-san, for sharing with us not only Yokohama City's aspirations as a circular city, but also how you're inspiring other cities to do the same when it comes to circular economy and advancing circular cities, and also encouraging them to work together with you through city-to-city cooperation. And thank you very much for sharing that, and also for sharing the invitation to our mayors to your upcoming initiatives, including the forum, the hosting of the Asia Pacific Urban Forum next year. So Yokohama is very welcoming of our city mayors here. Are there any questions for Yokohama? If there's, I'd like to open the floor briefly for any questions. But of course, you can also, again, send us an email in case you have a question later on that you're not able to raise at this moment. Thank you once again, Mr. Noriaki Yukoichi, for joining us and sharing with us the initiatives of Yokohama City. And that concludes this current session. We're a little bit running behind schedule. If we can resume in about, may I check with our colleagues from UN Habitat?
Yes, so here is a good time for us to have a break, and we are still quite matching the schedule. So yeah.
Right. So I guess can we convene in around 5 minutes? Just to give everyone a chance to take a quick break to the restroom or for coffee. And we will resume in this is 1. It's 2 o'clock my local time, so that's 1:05. If that's okay with everyone, with our mayors, and apologies also to our next speakers for the delay. We will be resuming in 5 minutes. Thank you and see you in 5 minutes.
Great. You can turn off the camera.
Bye.
Good afternoon and welcome back from our short break. It is now 13:05 Bangkok, Jakarta time. So we will be resuming our session. This is our last session on local innovations. We've invited several speakers from local governments to share with us their initiatives and innovations related to addressing the different urban crises. So first, we will be having two speakers on Integrated Resource Recovery Center. Allow me to invite first Dr. Ahmad Zulfikar Nuraman, Head of Environmental Agency of Malang Regency. Dr. Zulfikar, are you online and ready?
Yes, please.
Thank you. The floor is yours. Allow us to share
Yes.
your presentation. Is it okay now? Are you able to see your
Yeah,
presentation? All right.
Okay,
Please
it's
go
good.
ahead. The floor is yours. You have 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you. So good afternoon, everyone, to honorable mayors and delegates from across the Asia Pacific region. It is a great honor to join this forum, and we appreciate the opportunity to share the ideas, experience, and collaborative vision for more sustainable and resilient future for our cities and communities. So now I will present the Integrated Resource Recovery Center that was built in our regency. Next. Next, please. So this is our piece back before. Yes. So this is our regency here. We have 3,500 square kilometer and approximately 2.8 million population. We have 4 dam and 1 hydropower plant. And also we are agricultural region, rich of farming potential and also tourism potential as well. Next. So this is the pollution pathway in our regency. So this slide explains how pollution generated in Malang. It can flow downstream and impact surrounding regions. As an agricultural and hilly upstream area, pollution from vegetable trade activities and cattle farming can easily enter the rivers and the water systems. And also organic waste, nutrients, pathogens, and suspended solid from vegetable market and livestock activities are carried through drainage channels, streams, river, especially during rainfall. So due to the mountains watershed, polluted water flows downstream and also can communicate and contaminate the dams and reservoirs. Next. So yeah, this is one of our district. The name is Pujon district, one of the most affected district in our regency, which experienced significant agricultural pollution. And it, as a mountainous area, Pujon is one of the main vegetable producing regions and also the largest dairy milk producer in our regency. So in addition, also two surrounding districts are also major dairy production area, which further increase the potential impact of livestock and agricultural waste in rivers and water systems. So if you see the picture, this is one of our channel and our drainage. They are polluted by the livestock waste, and also we have a big vegetable market that also generated the organic waste and polluted the watershed as well. Next. And we have a solution to address this problem by developing an IRRC, Integrated Resource Recovery Center. The facility was established in 2014 with support from UCLG Aspect, UN ESCAP, and also the Ministry of Environment. So, what is the IRRC? Next. So it's a decentralized waste management facility that convert organic waste and livestock manure into valuable resource such as compost, biogas, and also renewable energy. So combining manure and organic waste or we call co-digestion is important because it improves the efficiency and stability of the treatment process, especially in biogas production and composting. And organic waste such as vegetables contains high moisture and easily decomposes, while manure provides microorganisms and nutrients that help accelerate the composition. So the IRC provides multiple benefits for both food security and also energy security. So through the process of organic waste and livestock manure, the facility produces high quality organic fertilizer that can improve soil fertility, reduce dependence on chemical fertilizer, and support the sustainable agriculture production. And at the same time, the IRC also generates biogas and renewable energy source that can be used for cooking, heating, and electricity generation. Next. So this is about the reactor design. So approximately it can utilize 2 tons of manure per day plus 0.75 tons of vegetable waste per day. And it can be converted into approximately 96 kilowatt hour of electricity, and also can produce compost as well. Next. So this is more about the plan that we have in our one of our district, and it's also help the community to get the source, the resource. For example, like the fertilizer and some of the gas for cooking. Next. Next, please. So this is the process inside the facility. The recent slide, please. Yeah. So from the left photos, this is the office building and also the control room. And then after we get the vegetable waste, we shredded the waste and put in our inlet tank with the manure, mixed with the manure, and then it will flow to our biodigester, and then it processed for slurry in collected in a storage tank, and then after the slurry is dried, or before this slurry goes to the sludge drying bed, we pump the slurry from the storage into the sludge drying bed, and then after the sludge dry, we can move into the compost storage area, and we capture the biogas, and using the biogas engine, we converted into the electricity, and we use the electricity to provide the good source for our internal use as well. Next. Next, please. Yeah. This is the documentation show that several visits to the plant. The visit from UCLG aspect in the top left photos. And we also have the visitation from Embassy of Denmark and Danish Environmental Protection Agency. And in the right photo, there is some delegation from other city that interested in replicating this facility and using and utilize the biogas as well. Next. Yeah. So addressing to the SDGs goal, we have some target or some something to achieve related to the SDGs goal. For example, for addressing the zero hunger, target number 2, because we also produce the compost as organic fertilizer and can support the local food security. And we also addressing the clean water and sanitation, because we reduce the water pollution by utilizing the livestock waste and also the vegetable waste. We also produce the clean and green energy from biogas. And also we extending the lifespan of landfills because it's reduced the waste that goes to the landfill. We also encourage people to be responsible for their consumption and production. And also it addressing the climate change, one of the triple planetary crisis. Next. And we conducted a calculation of the carbon reduction potential from the methane gas utilization by installing a gas meter on the biogas utility pipeline. So with average daily feedstock input, it's around 50%. So actually we utilize around 1 tons of manure per day with around 300 kilograms of vegetable waste. And it can produce around 3 tons of CO2 equivalent, because methane is like 20 times greater than the carbon dioxide. And it's also can be can be calculated, and with several carbon pricing schemes, the project could potentially generate at least around USD 5,000 US dollar per year from the carbon credits. Next. And based on our experience from this existing IRRC project, this year we want to develop a larger and more advanced IRRC facility that will accommodate not only agricultural waste, but also municipal waste. This is important because our agency generates more than 1,000 tons of waste per day, with around 70% consisting of organic waste. And currently, we are still able to manage around 50% of our total from the total waste generated. Next. So the idea in new IRRC model, we want to integrate the IRRC with an MRF. So the process will start with waste segregation from the household level into 2 fractions, organic and inorganic waste. And then at the MRF, the inorganic waste will be processed into recyclable material, while the organic waste will be further sorted to separate materials suitable for direct composting and for biodigester processing. So, and the residual waste or low value plastic will then be treated as using thermal methods such as RDF and pyrolysis. Next. So this is the new location of the new IRRC. Next. We already make a detailed engineer drawing, and we will start to make a construction this year. Next. Together with the MRF model, so we can also utilize the unorganic waste for recyclable material and also the organic waste for compost and biogas. Yeah, next. So thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. And if you are interested in further discussion or potential collaboration, please feel free to contact me through my email. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zulfikar, for sharing with us Malang's experience on not only initializing but scaling up now your IRRC facility. So, and it's also good to see the multiple benefits that you were able to enjoy through this initiative, not only reducing waste, but also converting that to energy. And you're also able to contribute to several SDGs that you showed earlier. Thank you so much. Then, without further ado, allow me to invite our next speaker, Mr. Maruzar, Head of the Environmental Agency of Jambi City.
Okay, thank you. Paparan. Oh. Okay, thank you. Mrs. or Miss. Thank you, Miss. Langsung ya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Distinguished participant, respected the head of the Environmental Agency of Jambi City, to express our gratitude for the opportunity to participate in this important forum. Today, we are honored to share Jambi City experiences, innovations, and commitments in developing sustainable waste management and renewable energy initiative to strengthen our effort toward creating a cleaner, greener, and more resilient city. Next. Jambi City has a population of 649,260 people. 9 kilometers square and population density of 3.781 people per kilometer square. The city consists of 11 districts, 68 sub-districts, and 1,650 neighborhood unit RT. The population 100.97. Generation Z is the largest demographic group, followed by millennials and Generation Alpha, indicating that the city is dominated by young and productive population that support future urban growth and development. Next. Jambi City economic growth increased from 4.98% in 2024 to 5.13% in 2025, while inflation declined significantly from 1.16% to 0.16%. The Human Development Index, HDI, also improved, reflecting better quality of life and public welfare. In addition, the open unemployment rate decreased from 7.38% to 7.8%, and the Gini ratio improved from 0.395 to 0.339, indicating lower income. 7.73% in 2024 to 7.69% in 2025, showing the city's continuing effort to strengthen inclusive and sustainable development. Next. Jambi City carries the vision of becoming a clean, city driven by trade and commerce. To achieve this vision, the city government implement 11 flagship program under the Kota Jambi Bahagia initiative. This program include social assistance through Kartu Bahagia, community empowerment in Kampung Bahagia, elderly welfare service, microfinance support through Bank Harkat, job training through Balikat, affordable housing initiatives, bureaucratic reform through Apel Kota, urban resilience development in Kota Tangguh, and anti-corruption public services through Balap. Together, this initiative is social inclusion and promoting sustainable urban development. Next. Jambi City faces major urban waste management challenges caused by population growth, increased consumption, and environmental change. The city produces around 350 to 400 tons of waste. However, only 75% to 80% of the waste is transported to landfills, while the rest pollutes the environment and threatens public health. Food waste dominated the waste composition at 90.5%, followed by highlighting the need for more sustainable waste management solution. Next. Jambi City is committed to transforming waste management into a modern and sustainable urban system. The city views waste not merely as a problem, but as a valuable resource that can support innovation, collaboration, and sustainable policies. Jambi City continues to strengthen its commitment to creating a cleaner, greener, and more resilient city for future generations. Next. The waste to energy pilot project in Jambi City began in 2012. Pilot project due to its high volume of organic waste. In 2017, the city completed the construction of supporting facilities, including a sorting area, biodigester, sludge tank, wastewater treatment plant, and a composting area, and a generator trial processing for ton of waste. By 2019, the facility became fully operational, generating 1,500 watts of electricity and supplying biogas to nearby households, demonstrating the city's commitment to sustainable waste management and renewable energy development. Next, Talang Banjar Market WTA is waste to energy facility developed through collaboration between UNEP IATC, the Jambi City government, the Indonesia Ministry of Environment and Forestry, and UCLG ESCAP. The facility processes organic city and compost. It handles around 4 tons of organic waste per day and generates 20 meter cubic of biomethane daily, which is used to supply electricity to nearby household. The project is supported by operational staff, local government funding, and waste processing infrastructure. Banjar Market WTA program operates with an annual budget of approximately 253.3 billion rupiah. The budget mainly covers daily operational workers, maintenance, and equipment care. Around 204.5 million remaining funds are used for the machine lubricant, fuel, work equipment, spare part replacement, office supplies, and maintenance of the WTA installation area. Next. The waste to energy processes at Talang Banjar Market WTA into smaller pieces before being inserted into the biodigester tank. Inside the tank, the waste undergoes an anaerobic process where microorganisms decompose the organic material to produce biogas and organic compost. WTA, organic waste is processed anaerobically inside a biodigester tank to produce biogas and slurry. The biogas is distributed as a cooking fuel and converted into clean electricity with a capacity of 1,500 watts. Into solid and liquid form, where the solid material is processed into compost and the liquid is recirculated for reuse. Next.
If we can ask you to conclude in a minute, please. Thank you. I think we may have lost your audio. There.
Okay.
Yes, now okay. Thank you.
Okay. We believe that environmental challenge can only be addressed through strong collaboration and shared responsibility among government, communities, and stakeholders. Through renewable energy development and a stronger circular economy for future generations. On behalf of the Mayor of Jambi City, we would like to thank all participants for your attention and support. We look forward to future collaboration and knowledge sharing for sustainable urban development. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Miss.
Thank you so much, Mr. Marzar, for sharing Jambi's implementation of the IRRC. And in both cases, we've seen how both projects are now more than 10 years, and you're now reaping the benefits of that investment from how many years ago, and it's still giving benefits for the city, not only in reducing waste, but also you're able to generate energy, and you're able to work closely with the communities as well. Thank you so much to Jambi City for sharing their experience as well.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Miss Vanessa Claire Vineral, the Acting Division Chief of the Climate Change Mitigation Division of Quezon City. She will be sharing with us the city's initiative on air quality. Ms. Vineral, the floor is yours. You have 10 minutes if you could. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. If you could share my slides, please.
Yes.
Thank you. First, we would like to thank the organizers for inviting Quezon City to share our air quality management program and how we accelerate our clean air initiatives through collaborative action. Next slide, please. Okay, to start, let me first introduce our city. So Quezon City is located in Metro Manila, and we are the largest of 17 local government units in Metro Manila, both in land area and population. We are divided into 6 districts, and we have 142 communities that we call barangays. We are known as the green lung of Metro Manila as we have an extensive green space, and also we have protected areas, and we also have a watershed in the heart of the city. However, like many rapidly urbanizing cities, we face significant air quality challenges. So based on our emissions inventory, about 91% of our pollution comes from mobile sources, particularly transport emissions. And it is under this context that shaped our decision to anchor air quality, not just on environmental policy, but across transport planning and health as well. Next slide, please. So our clean air journey began with strong political commitment from our honorable Mayor Joy Belmonte, and we are one of the signatory cities to the C40 Clean Air Cities Accelerator. We are also part of the Breathe Life campaign, and currently we are part of the Bloomberg Cities Idea Exchange Air Sensor Solution technical assistance. We are guided by our enhanced local climate change action plan, wherein we commit to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions by 30% by 2030 and pursue carbon neutrality by 2050. It is under this plan that air quality monitoring was identified as a priority action. And with this, we institutionalized the creation of an air quality technical working group. So this technical working group is composed of about 20 city departments that are in charge of transportation, engineering, education, disaster risk, health, and planning, among others. And we also work with academe, national government agencies, CSOs, and other stakeholders for the crafting of the plan. So the plan focused on three important points. So first was the emissions inventory, wherein, as mentioned earlier, 91% of our pollution comes from mobile sources, 7% is from point sources, and 2% is from area sources. We also identified emission reduction targets, and by 2030, we plan to reduce our emissions by 14%. 39% by 2040 and 42% by 2050. And under also the plan, we have identified thematic areas and interventions. So we have, since transportation is a major contributor for emissions, we have initiatives focusing on transport and land use, industry and construction, solid waste, as well as on energy. Next slide, please. So to move from policy to implementation, we first built our evidence-based air quality management program by establishing our air quality monitoring network. So currently we have 40 non-reference sensors and 10 wind modules that are installed all over the city. We are expanding this, and our target is that by the end of 2026, we have 93 sensors, non-reference sensors that are deployed in the city. We also, because of the sensors, we're able to post air quality index on our official city platforms, such as our official websites and social media pages. And we also, more importantly, our policies are now anchored on air quality data and ensuring that decisions are scientific for targeted interventions. Next slide, please. So we also strengthened our collaboration through a whole of government approach. We conducted 2 forums. One is on to create our air quality management plan, and another is on a clean air public forum, wherein all of the stakeholders in the city were gathered, and we got their inputs and presented the interventions that are to be implemented all over the city. We also have a strong executive and legislative collaboration for the development and enactment of our city policies. Next slide, please. So one of the most important partners that we have is our clean air advocates. Currently, we have 500 clean air advocates registered as of December 2025, and they help us verify and give us feedback on what's happening on the ground. So we have a control center here at our office, and we check our sensors, and if there are episodes or there's a spike in the reading of our sensors, we verify it with the people on the ground. So this reporting system ensures real-time feedback, transforming air quality from a technical issue to a shared public responsibility. Next slide, please. So for my next slides, I will be presenting the initiatives of the city that cover the thematic areas identified in our air quality management plan. So first, the city pioneered an air quality index-based class suspension guidelines with the establishment of alert levels. So I believe we are the only city in the Philippines that translates air quality data into school health protocols. Next, we piloted the bike to school project, which promotes safe and active transport through tactical urbanism and participatory design. So more than 130 students participated in this study, and the safety ratings for the school improved from 3 to 4 stars, and we plan to expand this to 2 more schools this year. Third is we developed an informative activity book entitled Ang Paglalakbay sa Hangin ni Sasa Saranggola. So Saranggola is a kite, and it teaches children about air pollution and active mobility. Our Education Affairs Unit and Schools Division's Office have distributed these books to our public schools in the city. So these initiatives show the interaction of environment, health, and education sectors to create inclusive outcomes. Next slide, please. With transportation being the major emission source in the city, we scaled our sustainable mobility initiatives. Currently, we have a free bus service in Quezon City that services 8 routes. 2 of these routes have already been transitioned to full electric vehicles, which covers a total of about 21 kilometers. And based on our initial assessment, we have reduced an estimated 95% of our emissions for these routes. But this still has to be validated because, again, it's an initial assessment of the project. And our bike lanes have already reached over about 200 kilometers of the target 300 kilometers all over the city. We also have an ordinance in the city promoting car-free, care-free initiative in a major business center, business district here in Quezon City. So based on the data that we have, during the car-free, care-free Sundays, which is from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., there is a reduced early average of PM 2.5 of about 15% when the program or the project is being implemented. So this is conducted every Sunday. So this just demonstrates that having or promoting active mobility and walkability and transitioning our fleet will help the city reduce our emissions and improve air quality. Next slide, please.
If you can conclude in a minute, please. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, as we know, urban greening is complements emissions reductions that thus improving air quality. So we are currently redeveloping our Quezon Memorial Circle. We have the elevated landscape promenade, and we also have the La Mesa watershed redevelopment, which is undertaken by La Mesa by a private partner. Next slide, please. We also have the Generation Restoration Project, which is in partnership with UNEP, and it aims to link our green corridors for the movement of urban wildlife. Part of this is the Payatas Disposal Facility redevelopment, wherein we will be linking the La Mesa watershed, which is located within the city, to the lower Sierra Madre mountain range, which is located in the province of Rizal. Next slide, please. And lastly, on energy being one of the sectors identified in the Air Quality Management Plan, we have enacted the Green Building Code, which mandates that all buildings in the city should comply with the 4 base level requirements, 2 of which are transitioning to energy efficient lighting fixtures and cool roofs. And we also have a solarization project in the city. And we have already 6 city hall buildings within a compound that are already solarized. 3 of the city-owned hospitals have already been solarized. And also 25 schools have already been solarized here in the city. And for my last slide, so in conclusion, the city has been making air quality a shared responsibility of all people here in Quezon City. So it is important that we have political commitment. We have data management. and also collaboration with all stakeholders to ensure sustainability and inclusivity in all our efforts. We still have a lot to do. We still also have a lot of opportunities through our partnerships. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Miss Vinarao, for reminding us that air quality is a shared responsibility. So it's not just the local government, but it should be responded together with different stakeholders in the city. And it's also good that you show the importance of data for evidence-based policy making, because that is the root of your actions. If you don't have data, you don't know what you will address, how you will address. So that's very important. Thank you so much for sharing this initiative by Quezon City. And last but not the least, we have one more speaker, Mr. Birendra Shrestha, project engineer of UN Habitat Nepal, to share with us an earthquake recovery project experience in Jajarkot. The floor is yours, Mr. Shrestha. If you could please limit your presentation to 10 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Liz. Good afternoon and namaste to everyone. Are you hearing me? Is me audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I am Birendra Shrestha from UN Habitat Nepal, and thank you organizing team for providing the platform to sharing the work we are doing through the Jajarkot Earthquake Recovery Project in Nepal. The project is helping transfer the livelihood of the earthquake affected community in the remote districts of Rukum West and Jajarkot, which are among the lowest SDI in Nepal, are also highly vulnerable according to the climate risk index. As we know, Nepal is highly vulnerable to the both earthquake and climate-related hazards, and the vulnerability became very real on 3 November 2023 when the 6.4 magnitude earthquake struck West Nepal. The earthquake resulted in significant loss of life and injuries and caused damage to the homes, schools, public building, agriculture, and livestock. Beyond the physical destruction, the disasters severely disrupted the basic public service delivery, local infrastructure, and livelihood. In this context, the context shaped the way we design and implement our recovery intervention. The project overall goal of the project is to support the effective earthquake recovery and strengthening the long-term resilience. This will be achieved through the three key objectives. The first is enhancing the capacity of the local government, strengthening the resilience livelihood of earthquake affected community, and last is improving the resilience capacity of the local government in emergency preparedness and response facility. The project was launched in March 25 and will be completed by coming July 26. It is supported by the government of Japan. As mentioned, we are working in the remote climate risk prone, namely Jajarkot and West Rukum, through the close coordinations and collaboration with the federal, provincial, district, and local government, along with the UNDP, UN Habitat, and local partner organization. The project is delivering results under the two key output. The first output focusing on strengthening the basic service delivery and disaster preparedness. This includes the constructing 10 prefab service building to support the continuity of the local government service for affected community in the transitional period. Providing the essentials equipment to them, updating the disaster preparedness and response plan, and strengthening the local response capacity through the training and community awareness. The second output focusing on enhancing the community resilience. We are supporting the livelihood recovery, improving community level infrastructure, providing psychosocial support to help the affected family to recover and rebuild with the dignity. Here are the images of the prefab building, among which 10 are currently on the process of handover. Another key intervention under the output one is focusing on the strengthening the disaster preparedness and response systems. 5 SOP of the 5 local government has been updated along with the development of the fund mobilization guideline. Emergency response equipment also provided to strengthen the local capacity. In addition, basic short line rescue orientation, simulation exercise, and school and community-based orientation program also conducted over there. Under the output two, our focus is strengthening the resilience of earthquake-affected community with the strong link between livelihood and local infrastructure. We supporting the 400 households through the beekeeping-based livelihood, including tools distribution and capacity building support. In addition, constructing a total of 35 community infrastructure facility across the 5 municipalities. These include 5 common facility centers, one in each municipality, which support the earthquake small entrepreneur such as bamboo craftsmen, blacksmith, and tailors by providing the shared space and basic facilities. This center enable them to restart their businesses and rebuild their livelihood. We have also established the 5 market center on Inispalika. These center provide the common platform for earthquake affected farmers to sell their agricultural product and livestock, helping them generate the income and revive local markets. Alongside this, we have rehabilitated the 25 small scale infrastructure schemes, including irrigation pond, canals, food trails, road drain, and flood mitigation measures, which was damage due to earthquake or aftershock of earthquake, along with the flood. As we know, during the earthquake, children and other vulnerable community were highly affected. In response, psychosocial support activity were also implemented, including the mental health counseling related to disaster stress, suicidal thought, adolescence, and children healing sessions, parents adolescents interaction programs focus on coping with the disaster related challenges. Individual-based community psychosocial counseling was also provided through the trained local resources with the referral to the hospital for the extreme cases. Here are some prefab government buildings. We are under the final stage. We are also providing the furniture support to them for easy service delivery. Here are images of irrigation canal and flood protections measures we applied over in communities. These are the design and images of market center and CFC buildings, buildings which are under the process of completions. We ensured the implementation of the 5 safeguard measures in all activities, including occupational health, hazards, waste management, participation of the women's and labor forces, grievance handling for the community, and hazard mitigation is applied over there. There are the challenges we faced during the project implementation. The first is the need and demand of the community were very high, but resources were limited. Therefore, selection of the most appropriate project was crucial. To address this, we carried out the need assessment, baseline survey, feasibility study, community consultation, and validate priority of the local government before finalizing the intervention. Land ownership was another major challenges due to limited local government owned land and difficult geography, which we address through the municipal owned land and voluntarily community land contributions. Another challenges we also face in ensuring the continuity operation of the counseling center, which are addressed by establishing them within the municipal office and government hospitals. Another challenges were ensuring the cold storage facility could run sustainably. We addressed this through the feasibility assessment and clear operation guidelines. From our experience on the ground, following are the key lessons we have learned. First, cost sharing among the project, local government, and participation of the community play the very important roles in improving financial viability and strengthening the local ownership. When community contribute, they feel more responsible for maintaining and sustaining the facility in the long run. Lastly, the key lesson learned is building the construction alone is not the sufficient to achieve last impact. Social and environmental safeguard must be integrated from the beginning, inclusively, environmentally safely. Community participation and multi-hazard resilience are the essential to ensure that our interventions are truly sustainable and resilient. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shrestha, for sharing with us your important work on earthquake recovery and how it builds long-term resilience. You also shared the lessons on cost sharing and having social and environmental safeguards for your project. Thank you so much. And with that, we conclude the session on local innovations. Allow me to jump to our last but not least speaker for this session to introduce Module 3. Let me invite Dr. Fernando Ortiz Moya of Waseda University. Fernando,
Thank
the
you.
floor is yours.
Yes. Thank you very much, Liz. And dear honorable mayors, I hope that you found the conversations today insightful. So please, next slide. I will be introducing you to Module 3, which is gonna take place over the next two sessions. I believe the next session will be on Tuesday, May 26th. So in Module 3, we are gonna start to think about urban and territorial planning, to see political instruments that you can use to localize the SDGs and advance sustainable development in your cities. So we are going to focus in particular on how to implement the SDGs. We are going to discuss voluntary local reviews that we have already started talking about it, as well as stakeholder engagement and compact city development. So next slide, please. So in particular, in 2 weeks from now, Module 3A, we'll be exploring these three key questions. So first, what are the benefits of conducting a voluntary local review? Second, how can the voluntary local review process be integrated with spatial planning? And third, how to mobilize support to conduct an inclusive VLR through engaging with a diverse range of stakeholders. So next. But for next module, you will need to start submitting homework. So I apologize for this, but now we are going to need to start preparing some homework for all of you. As you are aware, throughout the Majors Academy, through this academy, you are supposed to develop an initiative that you will be developing together with us. So the first side of through the homework, we are going to be building up on this initiative and going through the different building blocks of developing the initiative. So the first homework is for you to think, what is the main challenge you want to address through the initiative you will develop through the Majors Academy? So it is the challenge you want to target. It doesn't need the main challenge of your cities. That be something realistic that you want to develop and you want to address through the initiative you are going to be developing with us. So you need to create one single slide, only one, noting the main challenge you want to address as well. And you will need to submit it by Friday, May 22nd, before the module at the address below, but you will get a reminder from UN Habitat later on. Next slide. So this is a simple example from last year. So for example, the city of Banda Aceh in Indonesia, the key challenge they wanted to address through the initiative was flooding and waterlogging. And here you can see how their homework submission, which was very good because it was one slide, was to the point. So you have the key challenge, I mean, first the title of the initiative and the city, then the key challenge, and then the background of why you want to make this the initiative you are gonna develop here. So this is just an inspiration to show you how the homework is supposed to work, in which you just create the challenge and provide a very short background in one single slide. Then in the next module in 2 weeks, all of you will be taking the stage and will be presenting the challenge to the group, to all of us here in the plenary. So also be ready to present through your initiative for 2 to 3 minutes, always with the support of the slides. So if you have any question, please let us know. And I'm very much looking forward to see what are the challenges and what are the thinking you are bringing to the academy. So I think this is all from my side. Thank you so much, Liz, from this wonderful module, and I send you back to you.
Thank you, Fernando. Thank you to everyone, to all our speakers, our mayors, and of course our partners for joining us here in Module 2, Navigating a Multi-Crisis Context, Key Approaches for Addressing Multiple Crises. We'll see you in Module 3 in 2 weeks. Thank you all and have a good day.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Liz.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Thank
for
you.
bearing with us with the time.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you. Thank you, colleagues, for the support. See you
Special
next
thanks to you, Liz.
module.
Thank you, Liz. See you on the 26th.
Thank you.